It's another edition of Time About the Movies, and today we're taking a look at the films of March 7th, 1997. Another one of those weeks where I had a certain amount of movies to look at, 7 to be specific, but I couldn't find anything for Boys Life 2, so that's going to be taken off of the list. So we still have 6 movies to look at, though, so let's not waste any more time. Let's just get right on into it, and we'll start off with the biggest new release of the weekend, and probably the best movie of the whole weekend overall. Howard Stern in the movie version of his best-selling autobiography, Private Parts.
This spring, you are invited to experience an extraordinary motion picture about love, bravery, honor, and the triumph of the human spirit.
How you stink. He was offensive. That is the first naked lady in the history of radio.
I really think you need counseling.
Try to be, I don't know, warmer. Here we go. Oh,
What the hell, you're an idiot.
You're pathetic.
I'm not pathetic.
He was disgusting.
I refuse to work with this man 1 minute longer.
Give me a kiss.
You want me to go on?
Paramount Pictures and Rysher Entertainment present the story of a dreamer
You're a moron. Shut up and sit still.
who became the king of all media
We are gathered here today in praise of me.
and the price America's been paying ever since.
What you're about to hear is going to shock you because it's vulgar and obscene.
Can I take a top board?
No.
Oh, yes.
Howard Stern, is that what you call talented?
Behold.
Your husband's quite a character.
Just an act.
I'm going to have sex with you right now over the radio.
You gotta be kidding, right?
I thought you were going to control this guy.
You're not getting the phone from me, Kenny. I want to beat these guys. The only way to do that is to stay on the air.
You're fired. You're fired. You're fired. You're fired.
Howard Stern, Private Parts.
You are the Antichrist!
And this is the hell that's my life.
An Ivan Reitman production of a Betty Thomas film, coming this spring to theaters everywhere.
Man, I love this movie. I love this movie so much. This is a friggin' hilarious movie. Howard Stern, of course, this is based off of his best-selling novel, not even novel, an autobiography, Private Parts, of the same name. And actually, it was interesting the way that this movie originally was in development, because it actually started off as a film that was going to be about Stern's superhero character, Fartman, who actually shows up in the beginning of this movie. But they eventually decided to change it around, and so Private Parts essentially became what it has become now, and really, it's a really damn good movie. It's made by the same director and the same producer, of course, Ivan Reitman, who did The Late Shift, and Betty Thomas had done The Late Shift as well as the Brady Bunch movie, and really, the movie's just hilarious, man. I mean, this is a film that really is just so friggin' brilliant. It's so hilariously funny. It's both ridiculously funny and also kind of heartfelt funny, too. There's actually moments in here where, I mean, Howard Stern overall in this movie is really good. Like, he shows he's got range as an actor. Like, he could be himself, but he's also not afraid to be more of what we see him on radio or hear him on the radio. But he's a really good actor in this movie. He really gives it his all in here, and the movie is just hilarious. There's just so many funny moments in this entire film. This is a guy that can play not only his older self, but he can also play a younger version of himself, and it can be so ridiculous, but at the same time, you buy into it because it is so well done. It's hilarious. It's really clever. I like how he brings in everybody that from his show into this movie, and they're all doing a very good job here. You have Robin Quivers, of course. You have Fred Norris. You have Gary Delabate, Jackie Martling. You also have stuttering John Melendez in the end of the film. It's got a real good cast of characters too, played by really good actors. Mary McCormick plays his wife in the movie, and I really like their chemistry in this movie. I did like that they did kind of there's a part of the movie where you think it's going to go to the typical, third act breakup. They have to go their separate ways, but it only happens about halfway through. It doesn't even happen until a little more than halfway through the film, and even then, it's not that long at all. It's literally about maybe, 10, 15 minutes, and it doesn't really affect the movie. It doesn't slow the movie down as most of those scenes usually do. It does actually kind of work very well here. You also have Allison Janney in here and Michael Murphy, Paul Giamatti in this movie. Oh boy, if Howard Stern isn't the best thing about this movie, then Paul Giamatti is as Kenny Pig Vomit Rushton. I mean, just one of the best comedic performances ever. I mean, I cannot watch this movie and not watch him calling Howard Stern the MF and Antichrist multiple times. I mean, how can you not laugh your ass off when you hear him go like this?
You are the motherfucking Antichrist!
The facial expression, the way his mouth just screams out those words, it's just like, you really feel like he is really so pissed off at this guy. And like I said, the movie is just so clever and so funny and so ridiculously stupid. Like, there's a part in the movie where he's doing his show and he's talking to this woman on the radio, and she's talking about how she's got a thing for her, and Howard Stern's just like, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna have sex with you over the radio, and he's making these noises with his mouth. This was his mouth, and the lady on the radio is on the phone is getting so horny and so like, it's so ridiculously stupid, and yet I'm laughing my ass off all the time I watch this. I mean, this is one of the funniest movies that probably not a lot of people really know about, honestly. Like, it did well at the box office when it came out, and it was a critical hit as well. But it's kind of gotten a little bit, it hasn't gotten as much attention as of recently until they just put the movie out on Blu-ray a couple years ago. This movie's still hilarious after all these years later. I like the way this movie really does play with your expectations. They really play with your expectations, and they make it kind of heartfelt towards the end of it. Like, I love the way the movie starts when, you know, Howard's coming home from the MTV Video Music Awards, and he sees this woman, and she thinks he's a moron, but as the story goes on and the film goes on, she realizes that Howard Stern is just is not what she thought it was. And that's kind of the way this movie is. It makes you think that you're going to get something that you think you're going to see, but it adds another layer to it. It adds another layer to it that makes it really special, really funny. I mean, I don't think I have any more to say about this movie that hasn't already been said already. This is a friggin' fantastic film. Even if you're not the biggest Howard Stern fan, you could find a lot to really appreciate about this movie. It's so funny. It's so well done. It's written very well. It's directed very well. Some great memorable moments all throughout. It's one of the most hilarious movies that you probably have never seen. If you haven't seen it, I recommend checking it out. You will not be disappointed by it. It's one of the most underrated comedies you'll ever see. Private Parts, fantastic movie. Need I say more? So that's Private Parts. Let's go ahead and move on to the next movie, and that is Tim Allen in Jungle to Jungle.
I'm in a hurry right now. I gotta get on a plane that's gotta be back at the museum by 5 o'clock.
New York stockbroker Michael Cromwell has an appointment in the Amazon.
Rana?
At a remote Indian village.
Oh my God. It's Gilligan's Island.
He's not sure what he's doing there.
If we get to pick our own names, I'd like to pick man who's extremely well endowed.
Sorry, it's already taken.
But he's about to find out.
The boy sitting next to the fire over there is your son.
That is my son? What am I supposed to do now?
No.
The chief has given Mimi the task of bringing fire back from the Statue of Liberty.
No.
He's bringing home his son from one jungle to another.
You're gonna have to learn what men do in my jungle. Wanna go someplace, all you do is wave your arm.
Magic.
Oh, magic will be if he understands English.
And the big city is going to get
What are you doing?
Feed my chica.
What's Matika?
a little savage. Walt Disney Pictures presents
He's doing a parade.
No, come back here.
a story about the lessons of childhood.
Open up! What's going on?
Your son was in his hammock with my daughter.
What? Open this door right now!
All right.
And the rewards of fatherhood. Oh no. Tim Allen.
Cool.
Jungle to jungle.
Okay, it's a mouse. Go get it. Oh.
So Sorry for the sucky quality on that one. I could have gone for for one of the commercials for it, but I wanted to put that trailer up there just to show how bad the comedy is in this movie, and really one of the many reasons why this movie is not very good. This is a film based off of a remake of a French film called Little Indian Big City, which came out the year before in America and was actually a big hit. And then here's this movie here, and Little Indian Big City has a reputation for not being a good movie. In fact, when Siskel and Ebert did their Worst of the Year list in 1996, I think it was Roger Ebert that put Little Indian Big City on his Worst of the Year list. But Jungle to Jungle ended up being, I think, in 1990 is the Toy Belt. In 1997, Gene Siskel, when they did their Worst of the Year list for 97, this was on Gene's list for the worst film of 1997. And Roger Ebert, who had said before, put Little Indian Big City on his worst for 96, also had it on his, but he actually gave it 1 star out of 4, which is actually more than the 0 stars he gave on the last film. So that should really tell you something here. But really, you could just look at that trailer and their attempts at comedy, and just see how just bad it is. Like, it's really bad comedy. Like the cat thing gets really old really fast. Like, the whole thing about the taxi driver is just like it starts off funny with him just saying, well, put your hand up in the air, and then a car comes up. It's just like, oh, that's magic, and he's just like, well, it'll be magic if he can speak English. It's just like you ruin that joke. So there's a lot of jokes in here that gets ruined. I know I kind of butchered that joke because it was just in the trailer I just showed you, but you get what I'm talking about here. The jokes in here just aren't funny. There's too good of a cast here that work with this. Tim Allen can be really good in movies we've seen. Martin Short can be good in movies that we've seen. Lolita Davidovich, David Ogden Stiers, Joe Beth Williams, Sam Huntington. This is his first movie he's ever been in, which I'll give him credit, though. He's probably the best thing about the movie, but then again, he's not really given a whole lot to do here. And he's at least trying compared to everybody else. You have Lily Sobieski in here. You also have, who else was in here that I completely forgot about? I guess that's it, but yeah, just too good of a cast to work in this film. And it's just not funny. It's not that creative. It's just really, really dull. It's a really boring movie. And, remaking bad movies should be what we should do. We shouldn't just remake all the good movies, all the big hits. Like, remake some bad movies, but don't do it like this movie does. As I said before, this is kind of this trend that we got to when Disney's live-action films were starting to get worse and worse and worse. There were so many bad movies that came out. I mean, we just had That Darn Cat, which came out a couple weeks before this, and this one certainly isn't helping any favors either, and it's only going to get worse from there. There'll be a couple bright spots here and there that we'll get to, but they're very few and far between, so not much more to say about that one. Jungle to Jungle, it's not a good film. So anyway, on to the next film, Rhyme and Reason.
Never been before.
Hank, got that ghetto blood in my veins.
The biggest hip-hop artists telling it like it really is.
The same crime element that white people are scared of, black people are scared of.
Hip-hop is the representation of this oppressed culture, and I will represent that to the day I die.
Rhyme and Reason. It's the ultimate backstage pass. Rated R. Starts.
So we can be kind of quick on this one since I haven't seen it. This is a documentary about rap and hip-hop. They interview over 80 significant rap hip-hop artists. It explores the history of the hip-hop culture, how rap evolved into a major cultural voice in a multi-billion-dollar industry, and what these artists have to say about the music's often controversial image and reputation. They have interviews from various people, names you'll be familiar with. Biz Markie, Busta Rhymes, Chuck D, Cypress Hill, Da Brat, Dr. Dre, Heavy D, Keith Murray, Chris Cross, Ice-T, Lauryn Hill, Master P, Method Man, Nas, Tupac Shakur and the Notorious B.I.G., Redman, Method Man, RZA, Salt and Pepper, Sean Combs, Puffy Combs, Wu-Tang Clan, Wyclef Jean, Zibbit. I mean, there's a lot of notable rappers and hip-hop artists in this film, and it's got a good reputation in terms of documentaries, but as far as the movie itself goes, I don't really know too much about it. I've never seen it before, but it could be something interesting. I mean, if it's as good as they say they are, it could be a very interesting documentary to say the least. So that is Rhyme and Reason. So let's go ahead and move on to the next movie, and that is Good Luck.
Look, just do it, okay? Just shut up and do it.
Hey, don't tell me to shut up.
They're real good pals.
No!
One couldn't walk.
Are you okay? No!
The the other couldn't see.
You can either listen to me, somebody who understands how to play this game, or you can listen to this guy with a clock on his hat.
You have a clock on your hat?
Damn straight.
One hated his job.
Can you turn that down a little bit, please?
The other hated his life.
Okay, wait a second. How the hell was he able to do that? I mean, this is supposed to be a blind guy, and he's literally throwing a couch off of a two-story building. Like, I don't care if he plays a former pro athlete in this movie. I really refuse to believe that a blind guy can literally lift a couch like that and throw it on top of a car just like that. I mean, that does not make any sense whatsoever. But this is good luck. This is a story about two physically disabled men who come together to challenge themselves out of an unsatisfactory life. You got Gregory Hines, who's a dentist student. He's in a wheelchair because of a car accident that left him paralyzed. And like I said, Vincent D'Onofrio plays this former football player who was blinded in a freak accident on the field. And so in a way, it's kind of like a more serious version of See No Evil, Hear No Evil, except this time Richard Pryor is not the one in the wheelchair, and Vincent D'Onofrio's the blind guy in this situation. So that's the only real comparison I can make to this, because I have never seen this movie. Who knows? Maybe it actually is good, but stuff like that, when he's just throwing the couch over the car, on top of that, it's over the building. It's just like, I don't know if I could take this movie all that seriously. I mean, I haven't heard a lot of good stuff about this. I've seen a little bit of the reviews on here. They mix. Sorry about that. I had a phone call to take. But other than that, though, this movie, like I said, it could definitely be something that's much different compared to that trailer. I mean, but the only thing I'm really looking at is that part where he's throwing the chair off the building. It's just like, yeah, that's just the couch off the building, I should say. But other than that, though, who knows? It could actually be a little bit charming. But that's pretty much all I know about that one. So anyway, on to the next film, and that is Greg Matalla's The Daytrippers.
Why do you put this junkie in here, huh? I see Carl doesn't find it necessary to deface himself.
Carl, show Mom your nipples.
It all started the morning after Thanksgiving. After my sister's husband, Louis, left for work, she found a note. And it looked like a love letter written to Louis. So she brought it over to my mom and dad's house.
Couldn't this be a note from a barracuda who was having an affair with a married man?
So what should I do?
I suggest that we drive you into the city and you talk to him face to face.
So Mom, Dad, my sister, my boyfriend, and I all crammed into the family car. Carl, tell Mom and Dad about your novel.
The main character is this freak of nature man who doesn't have a normal head. He was born with a dog's head.
Joe loves dogs.
So when we got to New York, we drove to Louis's office.
You are so lucky to have Louis. He's so sweet.
Oh, I'm sorry. I gave Louis the rest of the day off.
Hey, look. What should we do?
Then it got a little complicated.
Of course, Greg Matala is the same guy that would eventually go on to direct Superbad and Adventureland and Paul, Clear History, Confess Flesh was his most recent film. He's made a lot of really good movies, and he directed this movie. This was actually the first film he ever directed. And it's a fun little concept here. You basically have a story where, you see it in the trailer, Hope Davis plays a woman who discovers a love letter that may prove her husband is having an affair, so she decides to go to New York City with her family. And they find him, and chaos ensues all throughout the film. I kind of paused it there because there was a song that was about to play in there, but you get kind of the idea there. And it's a fun little comedy. It's a very fun little film. It kind of reminds me a little bit of Little Miss Sunshine a little bit, and yeah, I think it's a pretty fun film. A good cast: Stanley Tucci, Hope Davis, Parker Posey, Liev Schreiber, Campbell Scott, Marcia Gay Harden, Douglas McGrath. I mean, a really good cast overall here, and a lot of good funny moments in the movie as well. Like a fun little independent comedy. If you haven't seen this, but you've seen other works by Greg Matala, I think you'll definitely like this one a lot. It's a really fun film. So let's go ahead and take a look at the last movie we have here, and that is The Eighth Day.
J'ai trouvé un type, là, je voulais l'amener, je crois qu'il est un peu handicapé.
Vous voyez bien que je suis seul ici.
C'est pas à moi à m'occuper de ça, c'est à vous.
So as you can tell, this is from another country. This is a French-Belgian comedy drama that tells the story of a friendship that develops between two men who meet by chance. One is a divorced businessman who feels alienated from his children, and another person is an institutionalized man with Down syndrome, and after he escapes from the mental institution, he's nearly run over by Harry, and they eventually go on this adventure together. So, other than that, though, I don't really know anything else about this film. I know that this was submitted as the best foreign language film for the Academy Awards that year from Belgium. But other than that, though, nothing else I really know about this film. I've never seen it before, so I don't know if it's any good or not. But definitely has some promise to it. So anyway, that is The Eighth Day. So with that said, that wraps up another edition of Time About the Movies. When we meet next time, we'll have the last part of the Star Wars Trilogy Special Edition, Return of the Jedi. We also have Love Jones, City of Industry, The Substance of Fire, and Drunk. So 5 movies to look at next time around. We'll delve into those on the next episode. But until then, thank you very much for watching, and if you want to see more videos like this, please hit the playlist on the next page, check out the previous episode, and I will see you guys tomorrow for another episode. So thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time, and until then, as always, take care.